Up next on the Whistle AFCON Daily Digest, we're looking at Group E. Headlined by the holders and favourites, Algeria are joined by a Sierra Leone side making their return to the AFCON after a 25-year hiatus. Equatorial Guinea made the semi-finals in 2015, the last time they qualified, but they'll be hard put to get out of a group rounded off by an Ivory Coast side oozing quality and chaos in equal measure. If you want to get in touch, we can be found at OTW_podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and On the Whistle podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you get your pod. First up, I was joined by Maher Mezahi, who came on the podcast to talk unbeaten runs and a continental legacy that Algeria could leave behind if the Desert Foxes win back-to-back AFCONs.
Yeah, I think probably have to put them up there with, the Cameroon side that went back-to-back in 2000, 2002. If they qualified to the World Cup, maybe even the Egypt three-peat team. Ghana also repeated in 63, 65. These are all the great teams that sort of managed to repeat the continental title, which is a very, very difficult thing to do, especially in Africa. Mm-hmm. But I think you'd have to put them right up there because there's really no contesting what they've done on the pitch. I mean, besides winning the Cup of Nations in 2019, they've also, as you mentioned, some counts say 33 matches unbeaten, some say 32, 33. There's a little bit of a dispute because one of the matches was against Qatar, where Algeria weren't really fielding their A side, and it wasn't really in a FIFA window, but it was the coach and there were a few starters from the national team. But regardless, as you said, if they're going to break the streak, they're going to have to do it at the African Cup of Nations. They've set the continental record for unbeaten matches. They've won the Cup of Nations, and they've been playing really, really good football, beating the likes of Colombia, drawing with Mexico along the way. So for me, you'd have to put them right up there as maybe top 3 to 5 African side ever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just want to go back quite far to 2018. Algeria had scraped into the tournament, had really been struggling, kind of didn't have a great 2017 Cup of Nations, didn't get to the 2018 World Cup. And now you've gone to kind of almost not quite entirely coming from nowhere, but winning the AFCON, and now have gone on this incredible run, kind of coinciding with Jamal Belmadi coming in. Kind of how important has he been, and what's caused that incredible turnaround?
He's been absolutely essential. He is the reason why we are where we are today. For me, he's the best African coach currently, with all due respect to Pitso Moussamane, with all due respect to Walid Regragui, who's a very good Moroccan coach as well. Lamine Ndiaye. There's a lot of great African coaches. I think Belmadi is the best of them. Not only is he the most qualified with his UEFA Pro license, he's only lost 2 matches out of his last 70. So he's lost 1 match with Algeria. He's on this incredible run right now. But he even won the Qatari League with El Duhail unbeaten before he came to Algeria. So he's been just nonstop excellent. He's young enough where he sort of relates to the players, and that makes him a really good man manager where he can motivate them and relate to them. And, he's French Algerian, like a lot of players in this side are as well. He speaks English, French, and Arabic, so he can speak to everybody. He's a great communicator. He protects his players from the media, from the press, but also he's a really good tactician. The way he managed to sort of nullify the threats of Senegal and Nigeria, especially in the knockout rounds of the 2019 Cup of Nations, was incredible. And many Nigerian journalists told this to me following the match when he spoke at the post-match press conference. And he said, Nigeria are fantastic players. We knew their threats were going to come from Ahmed Musa and Samuel Chukwueze on the wings. And their center backs are really good, but they're a little bit slow, he said. So the idea was to run at them and sort of trouble them that way. And I remember Nigerian journalists looking at me like, that's a perfect scouting report, and he's done this so many different times where he's actually went and he's predicted the opposition's starting lineup. He does his homework. He's just really, I really think he could be one of the first African coaches to be coaching in like a European Champions League in the future. So all the merit comes back to him, really. He's the main reason why we're here, because the difference between this Algeria side and the Algeria side of 2017 on paper isn't really big. They're pretty much the same players. 70 to 80% of the national team is the same. The difference comes in coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think watching the 2019 AFCON, that was what stuck out from Algeria, is just the incredible balance of the squad. You have the superstars up front, but just a remarkably well-balanced side. Algeria at the moment are playing in the FIFA Arab Cup and have gotten to the final. Obviously, it's not, the Algerian team, but there's a lot of guys playing there from both North Africa and the Middle East. How has that played into the preparations of the AFCON, and how important is the Arab Cup for you guys?
Yeah, so Coach Jamal Belmadi spoke about the tournament before it started, saying that it would be a good opportunity for several of his starters to keep fit prior to the Africa Cup of Nations, because a lot of these Middle East, North African leagues are going to take a break now in December for the FIFA Arab Cup, and he didn't want these players to go into the AFCON not competitive or not fit. So players like the goalkeeper Reis and Bolhi, like the defender Jamal Ben Amri, winger Youssef Belaili, or even striker Baghdad Bounajah, they could all start for Algeria at different times. So for that's obviously serves a primary purpose, just staying fit. A secondary purpose is just basically building on the success, and they've managed to do that. They've managed to keep this momentum and this unbeaten streak going, even if these matches don't necessarily count as official matches for the unbeaten streak. They've managed to upkeep a sort of enthusiasm. People have really they've gotten invested into this tournament. They've been watching. They feel real emotions. So honestly, it's been really good for the Algerian national team. I didn't anticipate it being as important as it's turned out being, but I think that this could really provide a nice boost for the Algerian national team heading into that pre-camp preparation period at the end of December, early January, going to Cameroon.
I mean, Algeria have obviously been on this incredible run, but during the World Cup qualifiers, it wasn't smooth running entirely. Obviously, you kind of only very narrowly got ahead of a very good Burkina Faso side, and they've gotten that all-important third goal in the last game. They would have knocked you out. If there are weaknesses to this squad and to this team, where are they coming from in terms of, opposition teams? Where are they looking at getting at you guys?
Yeah, so there aren't very many weaknesses. I'll start with that. And Burkina Faso, honestly, they do deserve a lot of credit because they really did push Algeria, a very good Algeria side, to the brink. I would say that there can be tendencies to concede goals depending on the formations that is used, depending on the defenders that are being used. So sometimes, like throughout the 2019 Cup of Nations tournament, Jamal Belmadi played with a 4-3-3, and he didn't really budge at all. And it was practically the same 11, except for the third match of the group stages when they played against Tanzania. They were already qualified, so he just wanted to switch things up. But other than that, it was a 4-3-3. That was a perfectly balanced system. But he's also experimented with a 4-4-2 in qualifying. And that has helped in some ways because we've managed to score even more goals. But at the same time, we've also conceded some goals. So if he manages to play with that system at the upcoming Cup of Nations, I think they can be susceptible to counter-attacking goals. That's how most of the teams have scored against Algeria. So maybe sometimes it can be a lack of concentration from some of the central defenders who are not as good as our attacking players, like Mahrez and Belaili and Bounajah and Slimani. But so it can either be concentration errors or getting on the counterattack when playing a specific system, the 4-4-2.
Okay. Yeah, and I suppose going into it, that is one of the big questions tactically, isn't it? Is can Bounajah and Slimani play up front together? And if they do, how much do you lose kind of at the back? Because obviously Algeria's strength is that unbelievable amount of quality you have both out wide and up top. People from the UK will be saying kind of even Said Benrahma is struggling to get into this squad because Belaili is so good. Maher is playing so unbelievably well. So how would you personally like to see the kind of side line up when you play that first match against Sierra Leone?
Honestly, I think it depends on the opposition. So I think the coach is going to think and say Sierra Leone is probably logically they probably might sit back against a side like Algeria. They're debutants. It's going to be the first Africa Cup of Nations. You think they try to, especially with this format of 24 teams, if you draw a few matches, you have a decent chance of maybe placing the third place and maybe qualifying to the knockout stages. So I think the coach is going to see that and he's going to say, okay, let's play this match with a 4-4-2. We need to score goals. I'm not too scared of Sierra Leone's counter-attacking game. Let's play the Bounajah, Slimani, Belaili, and Maher. So Belaili especially, I have to give him a shout out because many people that follow European football or maybe some that follow African football might not be too familiar with him because he's played in Tunisia and Qatar, but this player he's so good. He's fantastic. And for one reason or another, it hasn't really worked out for him in Europe. He was suspended for cocaine consumption in 2015. He had some very poor career advice from his father, who's his agent. But I'm telling you, when Algeria plays, he plays on one wing, Mahrez on the other, and a lot of the times he outplays Mahrez. He's that good. So yeah, I think depending on the opposition, that will probably dictate what kind of tactical system the coach uses. Like side against like Sierra Leone, I think he'll play a 4-4-2. But if we play the Ivory Coast, I think he might revert back to that comfortable 4-3-3, which is a little more balanced. And I think that's the system we'll use against the quote unquote bigger African sides.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah. So looking at your group, you have Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and Equatorial Guinea. On paper, one of the kind of easier groups in terms of getting out of it. Obviously, Ivory Coast are a great team, and no team in Africa should be underestimated, particularly at the AFCON. How confident are you, kind of coming through this group, and essentially how confident are you that Algeria will do it again and get that second title?
Yeah, so coming out of the group, extremely confident. I would bet my house on it. Again, simply because of the format. Two teams go through, and a lot of third best place teams go through as well. So when you look at Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, Equatorial Guinea actually had a very decent qualifying campaign. They pushed Tunisia to the brink as well. And they upset, I think, a lot of people were not anticipating to do as well as they did. They're sort of regaining that form that they found in 2015 in a sense. And a lot of their players have been they have a nice crux of players that they've been relying on since then. But again, I'm very, very confident. I would probably bet my house on us making it to the second round. Winning the group or not, that's another issue. The Ivory Coast are going to be, I think, very motivated, very hungry. They obviously did not make it to the next round of World Cup qualifying. And I do believe in the coach, Patrice Bonal. I think he's a good coach. He sort of lamented the fact that only 5 African teams will be qualifying to the 2022 World Cup. But on paper, I think the Ivory Coast are actually better than Algeria. Attacking wise, I think Algeria better. But if you look at the overall balance of the squad, the Ivory Coast probably have a top 3 team. Put them up there with Senegal, maybe Nigeria, and Algeria probably just behind them. So I think going to the next round, sure. The harder thing will be repeating. Algeria have never won, prior to, I think no North, if I'm not mistaken, it's no team from the Maghreb has won a tournament outside of North Africa, I believe. Really? So if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So going to Cameroon will be difficult and winning it there. Cameroon are very tough at home. They've had a great historic record. I don't know. I'm a little less curious about that, but honestly, I think the way the coach is approaching this tournament and the way the players are approaching this tournament, it honestly isn't a priority to repeat. It would be great. They will be pushing for that, but for them, the main objective right now is qualifying for the next round of the World Cup. So I think they'll have an eye on that as well. Yeah, I think if you offer them win this repeat and win another African Cup of Nations or qualify to the World Cup, I think they'll obviously take the World Cup eyes shut. Yeah, so I think that's probably the priority for this Algerian national team at the moment.
Being able to prioritize the World Cup over the African Cup of Nations, that must be a nice feeling. Meanwhile, Sierra Leone qualified for the tournament for the first time since 1996, before I was even born. So I was excited to hear the thoughts of Magdalene Konneh on what it means for the Leone Stars finally to be back on this hallowed turf.
It feels good and great to be back. It's been a wonderful moment for Sierra Leoneans, and since the referee sounds the final whistle in Guinea, where Sierra Leone played the decisive match against Benin, and we saw the 1-goal victory, the goal scored by Kai Kamara through the penalty spot. We saw the excitement from fans, Sierra Leoneans living in Guinea and Sierra Leoneans living in Sierra Leone. They were so excited. The team was welcomed like heroes, like a team that has already won the trophy. This is just the qualification, but they were welcome like heroes. So you can see, or you can sense how important this was to return into the continent's biggest tournament once again. After 2 decades of missing the opportunity, the team is back, and Sierra Leoneans are very much happy to see their boys in the tournament again.
Well, it's been an exciting ride. I mean, you came through quite a difficult group in qualification, beating out Benin to qualify only on goal difference. But obviously you had the very famous 2 draws against Nigeria, who are also in your group, including that amazing 4-4 comeback where you were down 4-0 and came back to draw against the Super Eagles. What has made this Sierra Leone team successful as opposed to ones in the past? How have you been able to qualify for this tournament?
I think Nigeria gifted us the opportunity from the draw we had with them back in Nigeria, the 4-4 draw. That match was the inspiration for Sierra Leone, because we are like the underdogs in that group. we had nothing to be counted for. We don't have like the chance to go, but going to Nigeria, playing for a draw with a huge number of goals, it was very good. The comeback was very good, and that was the point. We know that this particular tournament can be our time, but then there was another opportunity in Freetown which we failed to utilize. That was the return leg match with Nigeria. But again, we got another goalless draw with them, and then we started counting our points. But facing Lesotho and Benin was very much decisive, because we knew that those matches, either we win both of them, or we can just win one and then we can go through, especially after Benin lose to Nigeria. So the Sierra Leonean team was just like playing for what we could play for, because there was no like vision of what we wanted to do, but the boys did their best, because this is a team John Kister as a manager or as a coach is putting together, not only for this tournament, but for the future. That is why you can see so much young talent in the squad. So the plan was, we can go now, or we just plan for the next tournament. But we succeeded immediately after Nigeria defeated Benin. That was why I said Nigeria gifted us the opportunity, because they were like the people who paved the way for us to be in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, getting that all important win against Benin, like you mentioned, it's amazing. I mean, you guys have the kind of unique problem alongside Gambia and the Comores, where before the AFCON qualifiers even started, you already had to play a World Cup qualifier and were knocked out by Liberia. And so that's meant that you haven't played any competitive matches, since June, since the AFCON qualifiers. How has that impacted the Sierra Leone preparation for the tournament, and why in the period between then and now have you only been able to play just 2 friendlies in that time?
We've played 4 friendlies since that time. We've played 4 friendlies, and we've played Morocco, the Gambia, South Sudan, and Comoros. So though you cannot count the Morocco match, because we did play the Morocco on the 23 side, like the home base team for Morocco. Yeah, but it was a good test for us. In fact, that was the match Stephen Kocher actually played for Sierra Leone before even he was granted the permit from FIFA to play for Sierra Leone. So it was tested in that match, and the whole nation was behind him because they wanted to see what he could offer to the team. So with those 4 friendly matches, they weren't enough, like you said. Other countries, like in our group, you can see that Algeria are now the Arab World Champions, because they've been so competitive. They are playing in the World Cup qualification and other competitions. Same thing for the Ivorians and all. But for Sierra Leone, it's been a difficult journey for us, because we are only limited to the African Cup of Nations, and so many teams are busy, and asking them to play friendly was very much difficult. But the 4 nations accepted and we played them, though we didn't have like positive result, because out of those 4 friendlies, we only won one. That was the match against the Gambia, and we lose to Morocco and also lose to Comoros and had a draw with South Sudan. So it was not a good result for the team, but it was a good opportunity for them to keep fit, for them to keep testing the boys, because after the qualification, then we saw lots of players we never knew about. We never knew about some players, but after the qualification, we saw names coming up that they are Sierra Leoneans, they are playing professional football, they want to represent their country. So it was good to test all of those players.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to it earlier, but the big news coming into the tournament obviously is that some players have been approved to change their allegiances and be able to play for Sierra Leone. Jonathan Morsay, Issa Kal, and the big one, Stephen Cocker, who's obviously he's played for England and scored for England. So how big is that for these guys to and especially someone of Cocker's background and his pedigree, to be able to link up with the squad and join with them, and how excited are the fans to kind of see them play?
The fans are delighted to see these players. In fact, since the moment Stephen Coker declared, because he actually declared that he wants to represent his country, and the entire Sierra Leone was happy about it, because Sierra Leone has been, talking to players before, players who have played in the Premier League, in other big leagues in the world, but they always turn the country down. So for a player like Stephen Coker to decide to play for his country, it was a big news for Sierra Leone. And the people appreciated him. They always want to see him in the green, white, and blue. They always want to see him. Even some people are suggesting that he deserved to lead the team. But then again, we have our leaders. So you can see how much they appreciate his effort. It's unfortunate for Maher, who was also declare that he want to play for Sierra Leone and has the opportunity after FIFA accepted, but is being affected by injury, so he won't be playing in this tournament, according to what we had from the FA. And from the list of 40 man provisional squad, it wasn't included. So the likes of Issa Kalon, it was good. Remember Kumbo, where Issa Kalon is playing now, another Sierra Leonean there, Alex Bangura, but he turned down the country. Alex said he don't want to play for Sierra Leone at the moment because he wants to concentrate on club football. It was needed. The position is playing. We need someone to fill that gap in the team, but it can't play for the country now, and that was disappointing for Sierra Leone. There are lots of other Sierra Leoneans. Sierra Leone also lost a player to Denmark, Darami. He's a Sierra Leonean, he's playing for Ajax. The people were expecting him, but he turned the country down. Chaloba, the one playing for Chelsea, both Chaloba, the junior Chaloba and the senior one, both of them are Sierra Leoneans, Nat and his brother, but they've turned down Sierra Leone, not like they turned the country down, but they haven't spoken about representing Sierra Leone or not, or showing the concern people are expecting from them. It's like they are waiting for a call up from England. But players like Stephen Coker coming out, it was good for the team, good for the country, and it will be a big boost to the national team, which is experience playing for England, playing for different clubs across the world, because he has played in different leagues. So it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking forward to the tournament, you're in a group with Algeria, Equatorial Guinea, and Ivory Coast, like you mentioned. It's a really tough group. What are the expectations from the the country on the team, and how far do you think that they will go, and what is the objective of the tournament?
The expectation is there. It's great. People are expecting the team to do their best to represent the country. For some school of thought, some pundits believe the team might not be able to get out of that group, like qualify from that point, considering the fact that the defending champions, Algeria, they are in that group. Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone had a very bad record against Ivory Coast in terms of edge-to-edge. But considering the fact that this is football, you cannot rule someone out. So fans are expecting Sierra Leone to at least making it to probably the quarterfinal stage, or the second round of the tournament, like the group of 16, which would be good for a country returning back into the competition, because the last time they were in the African Cup of Nations, they couldn't make it out of the group stage. So going to the second round, so the group of 16, it will be better. It will be better. That's the expectation from the fans. But to be honest, we are looking up, like every other country, to go in there and win the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, just finally, looking at the squad, there's, a healthy mix of people based in Sierra Leone and those based abroad. And, a couple of the names jump out, Stephen Coker, Kai Kamara, who played, for Norwich and Middlesbrough in England and in the US. Outside of those two, who are maybe the players that we wouldn't be familiar with, those of us who are not, plugged into Sierra Leone football, that we should be keeping an eye out for at the tournament?
Yeah, for now it will be hard to determine that, because we are yet to see the list of 28-man squad, the final list. Whilst other countries have announced their 28-man squad, Sierra Leone is yet to do that. We are expecting it maybe today or tomorrow from the head coach himself. But I would just say there are a lot of players from the home base, the players that are playing the local Premier League in Sierra Leone. You have a huge number of them who can, take up the mantle to show the world that Sierra Leone can play football. We have a player they call Musa Noah Kamara, popularly known as Musa Tumbo. He's a striker. He's the top goal scorer in the Sierra Leone Premier League with 9 goals. He's the most popular player in the entire Leonster squad, despite the fact that you have players coming from England or wherever, the Stephen Coker and all. Musa Tumbo is the fans' favorite because he's playing in the local league and he has won the Golden Boots before and he's leading the Golden Charts again. And he's one of the top-rated strikers in the country. So Africa should look for that player. If only John Kista selected him in his final squad. And also you have Buya Toure, Mohamed Buya Toure. He's playing in China and he's also a forward. Is one of those players who gave Nigerians, the Nigerians a huge problem. Mm-hmm. It was very fantastic in that particular match, and we saw him making like 2 assists. So he's also one of the players they should look for. You have players like Kelvin Wright, the Alhaji Kamara Andriano. Alhaji Kamara is another player they should watch for. Is the striker as well. Alhaji is the only Sierra Leonean player now playing in a European competition. His team Randers are in the European Conference League. So he's also one of those players they should watch for. He has scored heaps of goals this season. He has assisted Randers to be where they are now in Europe and also in the local league. So those are the players they should be watching for. In the midfield area, you have like John Bankole Kamara. Bankole Kamara is also one of the backbone of the team, a fantastic player. So, like I said, there are lots of players, but I can't mention now because we are yet to see the list of 28-man squad.
There certainly is plenty of talent to be had in the Leon Stars team, and we're excited to see them on the biggest stage. On to Equatorial Guinea, who previously hosted the AFCON twice, but for the first time this year qualified through their performances on the pitch. And who better to reflect on that achievement with than Alberto Edjogo-Owono, former Nzalang Nacional turned journalist.
No, this is a big achievement for the national team and of course for all the country. No, as you said before, Guinea Equatorial or Equatorial Guinea has hosted the African Cup of Nations twice. The first one co-hosting with Gabon in 2012, and the second one because of the Ebola crisis. Morocco decided not to host this African Cup of Nations, and Equatorial Guinea hosted it. And we arrived in 2012 to the last 8, and in the 2015 to the semi-finals. No, so this is a big achievement because for the first time in the history, Equatorial Guinea has qualified in the normal process, qualifying in the pitch. So it's very, very exciting. It's true that nowadays there are not so much big players than before. Okay, before Equatorial Guinea had players that have been playing in La Liga in the first division in Spain, like Bodipo, Benjamin Zarandona, Juvenal Edjogo, Epitié, Jose Epitié. But nowadays we only have one player playing in La Liga, but there is a local coach. There is a structure and a good playing system. So we are very, very happy. It's true that now the African Cup of Nations is 24 teams, so it's easier, okay, or not so difficult to be in AFCON.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up on the manager, one Micha Obiang. looking through his kind of history, he's been a part of the the Equatorial Guinean setup for since 2012 or something, really long time. He's managed the women's national team, the under-20s women's team. He's managed the men's under-17 and under-20, been the assistant manager, and was finally appointed in 2020 to be the full kind of full-time manager for the men's side. And won both of his first games in qualifying, and brought the team to the AFCON. How well regarded is he in Equatorial Guinea? How important is he to the success of this team?
No, he's considered like a local hero. The Equatorial Guinea has always had foreign managers or foreign coaches. I remember in my when I was a player for the national team, we had Henri Michel, for example, a coach that had been managing, teams like a national team of France. So there have been always problems with between the federation and the managers. So finally, Juan Micha, he had the opportunity. Okay, there was a gap there. The national team had no manager, and he has been 10 years. Okay, like an assistant or like a manager for the women's team, and he arrived there. He started to win matches, and of course he's like a local hero. No, it's not usual that the local manager is in the national team, but he is doing very, very well, and he had the confidence of all the country.
That's so good to hear. I mean, looking at your performances over the last 2 years, you had an incredibly dramatic qualification for the Cup of Nations, getting those, scored 2 goals in the 90th plus minutes against Libya to win, that all important game against Tanzania, you got that 90th minute winner. But then even since then in the World Cup qualifiers, you had a superb, qualification. You pushed Tunisia all the way, only 2 points behind them, and we're ahead of, a Zambia side that has, a lot of stars, people playing in the Premier League, like Patson Daka and others. So what about this Equatorial Guinean team is makes you so good? Especially you're mentioning you don't have any big stars. What makes the team so good?
I think the main question is that most of the players of the Equatorial Guinea national team are Spanish-born players. Okay, so their parents are from Equatorial Guinea. Like it's my case, for example. It was also my casuistic, okay? But when you play for the national team, you have to do a plus, okay? It's extra motivation. Some players are in Europe or in Spain or in Italy playing in the second division, but play international matches, okay? It's a plus. The first thing that you have to know about the Equatorial Guinea national team is this squad, the defense really well. Okay, it's a very organized team. They play all together. Everybody is doing at his best.
Oh, hello, Alberto. Hello. Okay. Sorry, Alberto. You cut out there. Could you just say that again? Sorry.
Okay. The first thing you have to know is the strength, okay, in the defense. It's a very organized team, and then in the midfield here in Spain we give a lot of importance, okay, to the midfield, okay, and a lot of players of this Equatorial Guinea squads are born and raised in Spain. So you have Pepin Machin, is a Monza player, okay, he's playing in the second division in Italy, in Serie B. Is a very good midfield. You will know him. Very class, no? A lot of quality. Then you have Fede Bicoro, or Yannick Buila. They are playing in Spain as well. And luckily, we don't have Perico Obiang. Okay, the Sassuolo player is not available because he has an injury. He could not recover for this tournament. It's a pity for us. We cannot count with him. But you have to think that there are good midfielders. And then there is a player that is called Emilio Enzue. And a former Middlesbrough player. He has been playing in Mallorca, in Real Sociedad, in La Liga. Now he has no team. Okay, he's a free agent, but he has some star with with the national team. He always arrived on time. He scored the goal to qualify. He's always ready, okay, for any circumstance. And I don't know, I would think that the organization in defense and then the quality in the midfield. No? These are the strengths of this national team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about Nsue, you know, because obviously for people particularly based in the UK watching him, we're familiar with him as a right back, but he's also the top goal scorer in this team for Equatorial Guinea,
Yes.
and he's played in a variety of positions. When the tournament starts, where would we expect for him to be playing? What position?
Yeah, but I think you think he's a right back because in the championship and in La Liga he used to play in that place. Mm-hmm. No? He started to play as a winger, okay, because his speed. But then he started to play in the right back. But he with the national team of Ecuador like a striker. Okay, mm-hmm. He's playing like an attacker, and we have as well Josete Miranda. Okay, he's a Getafe player that is playing with the B team, and then he's playing as well with the first team in La Liga, in the first division in Spain. Josete mm-hmm. Miranda. We have Oscar Siafa is playing for the second team in Olympiacos as well. Mm-hmm. But Emilio Nsue, don't expect that he will play in the right back. He will play as a striker. And in the right back, we have Carlos Acapo, no, the Cádiz player. Mm-hmm. He is playing in La Liga. Recently, he played in Santiago Bernabéu and has been the only player that could stop Vinicius Junior. Vinicius Junior is flying mm-hmm. in Real Madrid, but Cádiz arrived to the Santiago Bernabéu. He could achieve a draw, okay, 0-0, and Acapo was the MVP of that match. So Acapo in the right back and Emilio Nsue, he will play like a striker.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you've talked about how, you know, defensively solid the team is, and obviously they'll have to be coming into the Africa Cup of Nations. You know, you're in a really tough group. You know, you're with, you know,
yes,
small team Sierra Leone, but then you've got Algeria and Ivory Coast, two teams that, you know, are fully expected to be, you know, at the top end of things, you know, going into the semifinals and finals. You know, from the perspective of the country, what is the expectations? Obviously, the last two times you were in the AFCON, you did brilliantly, getting to the quarterfinals and then the semifinals in 2015. You know, what are the expectations going into the tournament?
No, I think the expectation is to be competitive. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody is expecting to go to the semifinals, no, like in 2015. I think that here in the 24 teams competition, maybe if you win your match against Sierra Leone, mm-hmm. you can have 3 points, and it's possible that you go ahead, okay, to the last 16. I think that achieving this last 16, it would be I don't know, a big success for the Jalang Nacional. Anybody is expecting to win to Algeria. Okay, I think Algeria is the I don't know how to say it. It's the favorite, okay, to win this competition. Ivory Coast is not in his best moment, but it's a great squad with great players. I don't know, Nicolas Pepe, his market value, I think it's, I don't know, 10 times, no, all the Equatorial Guinea squad. So anybody's expecting to do that, but maybe why not winning that match against Sierra Leone? That I think it's a match that we can win and then go ahead, no, like one of the best thirds qualified and arriving to the last 16. I think that position is a great success for the country.
I had a look at transfermarket.com, and the Jalang Nacional team is actually valued close to 1/14 of what Arsenal paid for Nicolas Pepe. But Pepe's team will have their work cut out going into their opener against Equatorial Guinea. The Ivorians come into the tournament with issues behind the scenes and potentially with no warm-up games either. I spoke to Frédéric about what is going on with the Elephants.
The situation has really changed. We have a new coach, Patrice Baumel, okay? Mm-hmm. And the guy come after Kamara Ibrahim, a national coach, the former coach, okay? He led the team after the competition which took place in Egypt, okay? The Ivorian team reached the quarterfinal and has lost against Algeria. Now we are trying to prepare the future. The most important goal of the national team of Ivory Coast is the next AFCON, okay, which will take place in Ivory Coast. You know, the organizer will be Côte d'Ivoire. And I think to the situation we are living now, we have wonderful players, okay, but the coach now is trying to prepare something for the future. They tried to qualify themselves for the World Cup in Qatar, but they lost the last game against Cameroon. It was in Douala, I think, something like that. Now, to know really what we can do and what we want to reach during this African Cup of Nations, it will be really difficult to say that we could be able to win it. No, I don't think it's so. I think Ivory Coast is now trying to prepare the future. The main goal is to prepare the future, the next coming AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire. We are going to Cameroon to try to do what they can do, to show what they are able to show, but think that they could be able to win, I'm not sure.
And you know, talking about Patrice, you know, he's obviously was with you when you won the AFCON in 2015.
He was associated to the coach Ivorian when we won the cup against Ghana in 10-15, I think.
Yeah. So you know, he's been the assistant for Ivorian for, you know, many years across many different countries, Zambia, Morocco, you know, Côte d'Ivoire. You know, in the country, is there a lot of support for Patrice? You know, he doesn't have much experience as the head coach, and he's maybe struggled a bit since starting. You know, is there a lot of support? You know, especially coming after, you know, a local coach. How do they regard him in Ivory Coast?
Really, to give you my opinion, I was not for the choice of Patrice Baumel, because he didn't show anything great like a coach. When he went to Morocco, there, some of my friends, sport journalists, said to me, Fred, I don't know how and why your country decided to choose Patrice Baumel, a coach without experiences, and be the trainer of a great team like Ivory Coast. I don't know why you have, but it doesn't depend on me. Or most of the sport journalists are not agree with the choice of the Ivorian Federation. You know, we have problem now for the presidency of the Ivorian Federation. We are waiting for the vote. It will be in the month of March. And I think, I'm not sure if Baumel could be continue or could continue with the Ivorian national team after this AFCON in Cameroon. I think it could be his first competition with our national team.
And you know, oh, sorry.
Concerning the local coach, the former was Kamara Ibrahim, and the first victory of Ivory Coast was with Yo Martial. It was in Senegal. Okay, and we want another competition with Ivorian. And I think now we don't have so wonderful coaches. We are going to wait perhaps for Turekolo Habib, who is now in Leicester. And perhaps it could be the future of the national team of Ivory Coast.
I mean, you mentioned that, you know, the federation is currently, you know, waiting to vote for a new president. Do you think that's affected the, you know, performance and preparation of the Ivorian team?
We don't really prepare very good these competitions, and all the country is waiting for this vote. The life should start after this vote, and it's like a transitions. Okay, what we are living now from the situation we left, you know, the problem we have with the elections for the president of the Ivorian Federation, and now three candidates, Didier Drogba, Idriss Diallo, Yashin. and Sori Diabaté, the president of the Ivorian League, who was a member of the former squad of our federation. The situation is that we hope the future could be bright. Okay, we believe that it will be bright with Didier Drogba. We all hope things can change with him, like Samuel Eto'o was elected in Cameroon. We are going to share this experience with the Ivorian people. It will be the best way for us to improve the level of our football. If not, things could be always really difficult for us.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the preparations for this Africa Cup of Nations, obviously the team
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, the team is based in Saudi Arabia, like many other teams. But you've not been able to have any friendly matches or preparation matches yet. Why is that? Why have you had to cancel and postpone those games?
The sanitary problem normally, we should play against Comor, okay? But because of the COVID, it was not possible. And I don't know why. They didn't decide to try to come in Africa, to prepare it in Africa. They went to Saudi, where the weather, is it the same like the weather in Cameroon? I'm not sure, okay? There, the weather is more hot. And in Cameroon, we have water, it's totally different. I don't know why they decide to do this. I don't know why they didn't choose, apart from Comor, another African team to try to play. They will do. First, they didn't have all the players who were playing in England.
Yeah.
They didn't have friendly matches. And I don't know why really they choose this. They are the owner of the federation. The coach decide what you want to do with the team, and we are going to wait for the result of this way to do.
I mean, looking at the team, the big question is, or the big kind of news is that Wilfried Zaha was selected, after missing the last two international breaks. Why do you think, first, why did he, refuse to come and join the team for those two breaks? And, why has he come back now for the Africa Cup of Nations?
I would like to ask this question to Wilfried Zaha. Why he decided to avoid the other games, the most important, like the games against Cameroon for the last games of the qualification in Qatar. But Wilfried Zaha has a problem with the trainer. He had a problem with the trainer. Okay, he has reviews some of the games, which were also really important. If he has decided to come now for the African Cup of Nations, it is his decision. But I think it's not the best way. Things should not be like that. If the national team need your help to come to fight with your friends, you can't refuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the trainer has given him another opportunity to come and to play with the national team, what can we do? When we had the dream team with Kolo Touré, with Yaya Touré, with Didier Drogba, all the Ivorian player wanted to come to play for the national team, but it's not now the same things. We stopped to work. Ivory Coast stopped to work. We have players, but we don't really prepare our future. This is why we are suffering now so much. And Zaha should know that when the national team needs you to come to compete, you can't refuse. You can say, I will play for this competition with another. I will refuse. No, it must not be so. The best way is to respect the flag of your country, okay? To fight with courage and determinations, and to permit your national team to reach the goals, okay, you want to do during the competitions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, finally, I wanted to talk about, when I remember watching the Ivorian team play Cameroon in Abidjan when you won. And I was really, really impressed tactically by the team, playing with that back five. You know, with Max Konneh and Serge Aurier on the wing back positions, you know, they were superb. You know, my question is, you know, I saw that Willy Bolly has been, you know, has come out with a big injury and probably will miss the tournament. You know, how much will that affect how the team wants to play tactically? Do you think they'll still stay with that back five, or do you think they'll move to a back four?
Okay. The games against Cameroon in Ivory Coast was one of the best of the trainers, you know. The guys were so wonderful, but we don't really know what was really happening after this game. We should normally be qualified for Qatar, okay? We have the player for doing this, okay? But it depends on the tactical choice of the trainers, okay? Life should be more interesting if we try to say to the young men, when you come to the national team, when you come and when you decide to play for your country, you can play with courage and determination, okay? When I see the reaction of Wilfried Zaha, for example, I tend to ask myself, how can a player, an international player, decide to refuse to play for the national team? Okay, to come to your questions, some things can be really difficult. Okay, we will not play with Willy Bolly. Okay, he is injured. I think he will not take part to the competition. And behind, we have Bertrand Eric Bailly with Sangare Ibrahim of PSV Eindhoven. Okay, we have the squads to permit us to reach the quarterfinals. Okay, to play against, first we will start against Guinea Equatorial and then Sierra Leone to finish with Algeria. Okay, the most important is not to lose at the beginning. Okay, to try to win. If we don't have to have any kind of problem against Algerians, the best way is to be qualified before playing against Algeria. All now depends on the choice the trainer will choose. We can hope, we can say we are going to win, but all depends of the team we will put for this tournament.
Ivory Coast have their problems, but they still possess one of the strongest squads in Cameroon. Can they fix their problems and repeat their 2015 triumph? I guess we'll see. That's all from us on the Group D Preview podcast. If you want to keep up with what's going on in Cameroon during the tournament, make sure to give us a follow and subscribe to the pod on whatever platform you use. Goodbye for now.